The Jewish faith that was at one time was tolerant of them is now openly hostile to them. And we have the testimony of Paul about how early on the high priest sent Paul and others like him to harass and to arrest people who were followers of the way, who were Christ followers. It was hard to get a job if you were a Christ follower. It was hard to stay in your family. It wasn't unusual for someone to be thrown out of their family if they decided to be a Christ follower. And they would show up at the church and say, I don't have a place to go home to. Now, when you were thrown out of your family, it was a little more devastating even than it is now, because not only did you lose a place to live and food to eat and financial security, you lost your future, because your father was the one who passed down his trade to you. And without that, you didn't have a mentor, you didn't have a business to inherit, and so your future was now in doubt. So a young believer, a new believer would show up and say, I am now a follower of Christ, and I have nowhere to go. And the leaders of that church would say, here is your new family. And they would give you a mother and a father, and you would move in with them, and you would become their son. Jesus did the same on the cross to John. This is your mother. To Mary, this is now your son. He's now responsible for you and to you, just as I was in my lifetime. So that happened all the time. Grandparents who didn't have grandchildren to spoil now had grandchildren to spoil. And it's interesting in our postmodern time, when the family is so fractured, when there may be young men in the church who do not have a dad who's active in their life, and they'll find another dad in the family of faith. There'll be grandchildren who do not have grandparents who live nearby. And so they will find somebody who is 2 pews over, who will spoil them and love them and tell them they're the smartest child that's ever been born and the most beautiful child that's ever been born, which is a vital role of grandparents, because the world takes that out of them. And that's one of the things that we do as a church. We recreate the broken family. We give family to each other.